Fitting Salah and Haaland in the same FPL team is a bit of a struggle with this year's budget, but I've managed to do it with a team rating of 96% from Fantasy Football Hub. So let's take a look at how the squad might line up ahead of that Game Week 1 deadline. Here we are jumping in with the Salah and Haaland draft. You'll see the theme in this video that there are some budget picks which I think are really great value for money, and it kind of unlocks you the ability to have two premium players in the same squad without having to sacrifice too much. The goalkeeper pairing, I've just went with a starting 4.5 million goalkeeper in Henderson. I feel as though Henderson is a good option. Palace normally put up good defensive numbers, especially at the end of last season, put up great defensive numbers under their new manager, which I think will be a theme that continues through the season, despite Palace losing a player like Michael Elise. I think still there will be a strong side. Goalkeeper pairing with Henderson is Turner, just a £4 million goalkeeper, just for the time being, as there aren't any £4 million players, goalkeepers at the moment that are starting for their teams, which is completely fine, and we will manage with just the 4.5. In terms of the three starting defenders, we have Trent, Pedro Porro and Murillo. I think Murillo's fixtures are fantastic, especially across the first three fixtures. It then starts to get a bit patchy for Forest, but those three opening fixtures for 4.5 million are a real good option in my opinion. Similar type of vibe with Pedro Porro. A lot of people aren't really into the Pedro Porro train right now. Not a lot of people are picking him, and I can understand why. You know, you're not going to get a lot of clean sheets from Spurs. You'll get the occasional one, but, you know, Pedro Porro is super attacking. And if we just look at some of the data from last season, you know, you've got these types of players here. You've got Trent, Robertson, Trippier, Cash, and here we are with Pedro Porro. I've clicked expected goal involvement to show you this, that he's just up and down for Spurs, and I think he is a real good option still, despite, you know, not a lot of clean sheets expected to come in for the player. I think attacking wise, he will make up for that. And in terms of attacking wise, there's no other better player in the Premier League than Trent Alexander-Arnold. I think he is the best attacking option for a defender, and I think we all really know that. Yes, you're paying a 7 million price point for him, so I feel as though, you know, you're paying the money to get a real quality player there. And I feel under Arne Slot's new system, there's a lot of balls going over the top to players like Salah and like that, going through the middle straight from Trent. So there are a lot of options for Trent this season to get attacking returns, in my opinion, especially stepping into that midfield the way he looks like he's going to play going into the season. In terms of bench players, you've got Robertson, who, again, like I said on this graphic here, was a good part of the goal involvement for Fulham, and in pre-season actually has looked really cool going forward, you know, looking calm on the ball, when in the past I think he has panicked and has caused a few issues for Fulham in the games I've watched him. But I feel as though he's kind of settled into that Fulham side now, becoming that starting 11 minutes man that we can all bank on for the Fulham defence, and especially at 4.5, you really can't go wrong there. Barco for Brighton. Now, there's some news came out for Brighton that there is another player that could possibly step in at that left wing back position for Brighton, which will drastically, you know, deplete Barco's minutes. But, you know, when I'm picking Barco here, I'm not really picking him for his utility as a player to play. It's more though he is the best £4 million defender in my opinion. Maybe not so much now. We found out this information that there's a possible replacement for him, or someone that will at least affect his minutes. But I feel as though this back line, for the price you're paying, is really strong, and, you know, has a mixture of premium, good attacking options, as well as strong, you know, solid players that you can expect good minutes from. So yeah, actually I'm really happy with the defence in this side. Shifting over to the midfield now, you'll see straight away that we have our captaincy armband on Salah. Having Salah and Haaland in the same draft obviously will give you a great captaincy option every single week. Even if you just had one of those premium players, you're going to have a captain every week in Salah. mixture of Salah and Haaland. You'll have a good captain in Salah or Haaland every single week, even if you just had the one. Obviously, Ipswich away, fantastic fixture. I didn't speak too much on the fixtures of the defenders because I kind of think they speak for themselves. You know, Ipswich away is going to be a fantastic fixture for Liverpool. And just quickly on Pedro Porro, though, before I move on to the midfield, Leicester away is a good fixture as well. Eze, penalty taker, Crystal Palace. It's kind of the opinion of FPL creators and people in the community that Eze is a real good option. And yes, I think he is a great option at £7 million. There's not really other midfields out there apart from maybe Brian and Mbeumo at £7 million who you could really pick for that price point. There are some 6.5s that, in my opinion, do compete with Eze, but at that £7 million price point, Eze probably is comfortably the best player at £7 million as a midfielder. You're getting a penalty taker for Palace. Yes, Elise has left Palace, so the output there maybe is going to be slowed down. But I feel as though you're getting a great player who possibly could be getting a move to Spurs. I've seen, but I don't think that deal is going to go ahead anymore. Either way, as a fantastic option. Nkunku, I spoke about this on my TikTok page, 6.5 million. I think Nkunku could be one of the best 6.5s you can pick as long as his injuries stay down and he gets minutes on the pitch. That's all the FPL players are really wishing for with Nkunku. Solid minutes, and we just know that you'll cook up an absolute storm for Chelsea. You had the manager say he will play in multiple positions across the Chelsea front line as well, which is kind of enticing and not at the same time. Moving around positions as a player, I know myself, isn't necessarily the best thing you want to be doing. You kind of want to be nailed down in your position that you have every single week, but the versatility there is really attractive in Nkunku. A bit of a change as well. Leon Bailey I've gone for here. It was kind of a toss-up between him and Kudus. I feel as though Leon Bailey, his first two fixtures, I think he might outscore Kudus, especially in those first two. So that's why I've kind of gone the Leon Bailey route. Of course, DRB has left Aston Villa, so obviously Bailey's minutes will shoot up. And his data is absolutely fantastic. I would show you the data, but I don't want to bore you too much with it. It's really good. And for the goals and assists he had for the time he had on the pitch last season, it is really impressive. But for me, Bailey will outscore Kudus in his first 2 game weeks, which is why I've kind of gone that route for the finals position in the midfield. On the bench, you've got Harry Winks. Again, just a player to, be the cheapest one and allow me to have these amazing players in my team. Captain on Salah. I think it's really obvious with the Ipswich fixture. I don't have to say too much on that, but I am quite happy with that midfield. Maybe you could say a massive con of having Salah and Haaland in the same team, especially in the midfield, is you're kind of missing out on that next premium player, that Son, that Palmer, that Saka, or even a Bruno Fernandes or a Odegaard. You're kind of missing out in that regards, but I feel as though this is pretty strong, especially with some cheap players in there as well. Of course, we all know that Haaland is in the team because it is a Salah and Haaland draft. So let's take time and talk about Haaland first. You're coming into good fixtures past game week 2, and obviously I think every fixture is a good fixture for Erling Haaland, especially the fact that he scored a hat-trick against Chelsea just the other day, and Chelsea is his first fixture. It's a good fixture and possibly a captaincy shout as well. If you aren't too keen on the Salah captaincy or you just don't own Salah, I feel as though Haaland captain is the obvious pick. Of course, speaking of possible captaincy shouts, you have Isak there, who has a home fixture of Southampton. I don't think Southampton are possibly, just going to go there and be like roll over and Newcastle just absolutely demolish them, but I think there is going to be a lot of chances for Isak on the day, and if he has his shooting boots on, he could finish quite a few and be a big part of that Newcastle attack, especially as well being probably the penalty taker for Newcastle this season, and I'm expecting a lot more minutes from Isak as well. Again, penalty takers, I love my penalty takers. We've got João Pedro in there for Brighton. Now, João Pedro is kind of the position where I would possibly change. You could look at going away from a João Pedro just to someone cheap in the forward and then maybe upgrading Harry Winks on the bench to someone else like a 5.5. You're looking at Semenyo, Ben Brenton Diaz, who's just transferred to Southampton, which I think is a really good pick, but not necessarily someone I'd like to start every single week with. So I'm kind of just keeping my eye on João Pedro at the moment. If he is starting for Brighton and getting a lot of minutes, and obviously is on penalties for Brighton, it's a very attractive pick. But if it kind of goes the route that we've seen it go with João Pedro in the past, where he's not getting necessarily a lot of minutes and is scoring the odd goal here and there, I think it's safer to go for maybe someone else. Even if we could stretch maybe to a Muniz or a Wood alongside Haaland or Isak, that would be really attractive as well. But for now, João Pedro does get the third spot in the strike force. But overall, with this team, I'm actually really happy with it. This could possibly be something similar I go with in game week 1. You know, I think having Salah and Haaland is really great, but like I say, I'm big time missing out on Arsenal players here. I think having someone even like an Odegaard or a Gabriel in this side would drastically improve it, but there's simply just no budget to be going for that if you're going for a Salah and a Haaland draft, because then you might have to drop, you know, players like Isak, which, you know, aren't really negotiable to drop, in my opinion. And, you know, you could maybe save some money by going down on Trent, but I think Trent is a really important person to have in a team at the moment. But yeah, I'm happy with the team. An AI rating of 96% and a predicted points of 63.8 from Fantasy Football Hub. In my opinion, that's a great squad. Let me know if you would make any changes to this team. If so, who and at what price point are you going to be changing? Just to tag along with the video, of course, you see me use player data through this video and AI team ratings. That is, of course, from my friends at Fantasy Football Hub. I have a partnership with them this season, which offers you 50% off and all of your money back if you don't win your mini league, which is a fantastic value for money subscription, in my opinion. Of course, terms and conditions do apply to this, so please check that out. But for £3.25 a month, you get access to so many amazing tools and things that will help you genuinely get better at FPL. For me personally, I improved my rank over 100,000 places just using their software, and for as cheap as it is, I think it's a real good value for money investment if you want to get better at fantasy. So link is in the description if you want access to that 50% off. Just to outro the video, if you have enjoyed today's video and aren't subscribed to the channel, please consider clicking that subscribe button. It means a lot to me as a small creator, and hopefully these videos will support you through your season in FPL. That is everything for today's video though. Thank you so much for watching it again, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye for now.